Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, doing our weekly Talk to the Tape segment. Steelers coming off a pretty critical for this early in the year Week 4 victory, 26-9 over the Baltimore Ravens. And again, statistically, the Steelers' pass defense looks really strong. If you compare it to the rest of the league, they're top 5 in a lot of categories. They're second in sacks. I think they're second or third in yards per game allowed. Complete percentage is low. Yards per attempt is low. On paper, it looks good. But, and this is going to be our topic today, there's a couple caveats to that. One is the obvious. The offenses they're playing, they're not particularly strong. Whether that's Cleveland, whether that's Minnesota, who's, in that game, that was Case Keenum's first start. He's been better since. Whether that's, Mike Glennon and that, of course, non-existing passing attack the Bears had that still beat the Steelers. Whether that's last week and Joe Flacco. That's helped, obviously. The numbers are probably going to regress when you're going to face a much tougher second half of the schedule. But the other caveat, and the thing that goes unnoticed, usually on the first time through the live TV tape, is some of the big plays that offenses aren't able to capitalize on, because they were there. Baltimore had some chances to be able to get some big chunk plays in the passing game, and they missed on, I think, 3 critical plays that honestly could have won them the game. They at least would have made it much more competitive and definitely turn the tide of that game. So that's going to be our focus today, is some of the flaws and still issues in the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary that they've frankly gotten lucky and gotten away with so far. And I have 3 really, I think, key examples, like I said, against the Ravens. So we're going to jump into them now. So our first one, early second quarter. What I want you guys to focus on here is top of the screen, Artie Burns and Mike Wallace. I'm going to run this thing through because I know you guys like to see it more than me stopping and pausing, so I'll kind of keep running it back. But I think most people remember this play. Wallace deep down the left sideline drops the pass. It would have been a huge, I'm not even sure how many yards, it would have been 40-something yard gain. Luckily for Pittsburgh, he drops the football. What I think happens here is Artie Burns is based on the receiver split. It's to the far side of the field. He's got such a wide split outside the numbers. I'm guessing, and this is just my speculation, but this is what I'm thinking, that Burns is expecting an inside route. Anytime you get an isolated, 3-by-1 with the X receiver backside with that kind of far split, you're generally not thinking he's going to release to the outside because it's just thought the route tree is super limited. There's not a lot of room to run a route. So I'm guessing Burns thought this route was going to come to the inside. So you're going to see him off the line here. He's patient at first. Wallace is trying to, fire his feet to get Burns to commit. And eventually Burns commits to the inside right there. So what Burns does to try to recover is something we actually talked about with Joe Hayden whenever he got traded from Cleveland. One of Hayden's favorite tools to recover in a situation like this is using the speed turn. Whereas most corners you'll see will flip their hips to the receiver, to the sideline. Burns flips his hips to the field here, and you try to recover that way with a speed turn. So you're going to see it there. That's Burns executing the speed turn. We'll look at it again. I'll play it the whole way through. But I don't think Burns is nearly as successful with it as Hayden's been throughout his career, even with the speed that Burns has, because Wallace is a burner, and I think that's just something that really hasn't been a part of Artie Burns' game. So he gets out of phase, out of position. He's not able to use that speed turn to get back to the hip of the receiver. And because it's cover 3, and this is not J.J. Wilcox's fault at all, he's got, deep middle. He's not going to be expected to be able to play something to the sideline like that. And I think Wilcox actually makes a really good angle to the football and eventually kind of hit Wallace after the drop. But that's all on Artie Burns. So that's a huge 40-yard play that, worst case scenario, would have flipped field position for Baltimore and obviously could have ended in a scoring drive. So that's the first example. Steelers, I think most Steeler fans are aware, remember this play, that they got lucky with it. I apologize if there's a train going through. There's one that went by 5 minutes ago. I thought I was safe, I was good, no trains, usually about 20 minutes apart. And here's another one, so apologize for the train track cameo in this video. Our next play, we're going to move into the third quarter now. And this is right off the turnover, the obviously, let's call it questionable interception ruling by Walt Coleman and his staff, but that's irrelevant right now. The call is the call, and a lot of times, off of turnovers, opposing offenses will try to take a deep shot and capitalize on momentum or just, the sudden change of it, whatever kind of term you want to use. So what we get here, from Keith Butler's a three-man rush playing what looks like cover three. Keith Butler in the red area, especially against mobile quarterbacks like Joe Flacco, he often goes with a three-man rush approach. It's been successful in the past, so I know a lot of Steeler fans don't like it. I personally don't have a big problem with it as long as it's not used, too often. You got to sprinkle it in there, at the right times. But you're getting cover three. Now, generally, cover three is a 3 deep, 4 under with the extra guy dropping. In this case, T.J. Watt. You're getting 5 under. So I'm guessing Sean Davis is here. His role is kind of that robber role where he doesn't have necessarily an exact zone to cover. He's kind of working as this seam defender, kind of hook defender. But generally, he's not going to be a part of that in cover 3 because you have the other guys 4 under here responsible for the normal windows in cover 3. So he's kind of just that robber where he's reading the quarterback's eyes. And I think this play falls on him because you're going to get number 1 vertical. You're going to get number 2 here on a wheel, so he's going to come out to start with and then go vertical. And I think Davis never matches that. I'm pretty sure this is on him because I don't think anyone else is going to be responsible for matching that route vertical. Now, what happens here is that Davis jumped this route on the tight end earlier in the game. At least I think it was earlier. It happened. I know it happened. I'm pretty sure it was earlier. And he got a breakup from it. So I'm guessing he saw that again, assumed it was going to be the same throw, and credit to the Ravens for the great play call of running that kind of Y stick, but also running the wheel with it, and leaving Perriman, the number 2 receiver here, wide open downfield. Now Flacco just flat out misses this pass. We'll show the end zone view because you get a better look at it. But this should have been the easiest touchdown of the whole season for the Baltimore Ravens. Steelers again kind of get lucky on this one. So I mean that should be an easy touchdown. Flacco's a little off. Perriman can adjust to it, and it's incomplete pass. So again, you see Davis trying to jump the Y stick. Number 2's running a wheel, converts upfield. The 3-man rush gives Flacco all kinds of time, and you have the receiver that's wide open here. Not on Joe Hayden. Hayden's carrying number 1 vertical. I don't think it's on the defender here. I think that's what Dupree. He's got the flat responsibility. I think that's going to be on Sean Davis for not matching that. Now, am I positive in that? I guess I can't be 100% sure if it's spot dropping. We've had that issue in the past where they don't match, spot drops don't always match vertical concepts the way that they should. But bottom line, Steelers get away with one here. I'll run it through one more time for you guys. All right, and our last play to look at, which is still pretty important. I mean, I know we're getting the 4th quarter on this one, but this is still a ball game at this point. It's a 19-9 game, still 12.5 minutes to go. And we're going to get one of the drawbacks of man coverage, is that you can't always play press man, especially when you're getting stacked looks like this. And sometimes you have to end up chasing routes, and that's what happens to Artie Burns here, is that you're going to get Mike Wallace running this shallow cross, this little 5-yard dig, and Burns has to chase it the rest of the way. And what ends up happening, as I'm sure you've already seen, is that Vince Williams falls in cover trying to press. Burns trips over him. If this pass is on target, and I'll pause it this next time for you guys, this is a huge play. Burns gets caught in the wash and the trash from Vince Williams. So you have Mike Wallace, one of the fastest players on the field, with all this room if that pass is complete, and it should have been complete. And now you are without Burns, who's probably your fastest player on defense. So this pass goes incomplete. It should have gone for a huge gain, and who knows, it could have been a touchdown. Again, in a 19-9 game. I'll show you from the end zone view now. You have Vince Williams pressing. Watson loses his footing as he's trying to jam him. Burns ends up tripping over, going face first into the ground. And let me get the play back. That should have been a big play. No question about it. Now, I'm sure you saw, and I'll run it through from the end zone angle again, is that this is a really good example of when Mike Tomlin talks about rush and coverage going together. You're getting some pressure here by Tuitt off the right guard, being able to rip under and force this ball out a lot quicker and a lot less accurate than what it should have been. That causes the ball to go behind. Wallace can't get it. If that pressure isn't there, that's going to be a completion, and like I said, it's going to be a huge play. So, that's again an example of rush and coverage where the rush is directly impacting the coverage, and it makes the secondary look a whole lot better, even when there is a key error, mistake, bit of bad luck that happens on this play. So that again is not really anyone's fault. Like I said, Vince Williams is on the ground. I mean, anyone you blame him for it, but it's not really on Artie Burns. It's just kind of some unfortunate luck. but it's still a problem. And again, when you're playing more man coverage, you might get some of those things happen. I bet, Jacksonville's going to try one of those shallow crosses again and just see how, the Steelers respond to it. Because even if hypothetically Burns stays on his feet, that's still going to be probably, if that's a well-thrown ball, Wallace, with leverage, with the sideline, people to turn upfield, and he could get a huge play out of it. So definitely don't be surprised if Jacksonville, tries a concept like this. And just, don't be surprised if they hit a couple deep balls, because I think the Steelers have kind of gotten a little lucky with things. I've seen it, even in Week 1 against Cleveland, they've had a couple deep shots that they've been bailed out by, either by good pressure or just bad quarterback play or drops or a combination of all the above. So as the Steelers secondary has played well and they've improved, and it's fair to praise them, but there's definitely been some problems that have been masked and generally go unnoticed when you're watching the game, on the broadcast tape. But when you turn on the All-22, and this is why the All-22 is really, really important, because it gives us this new look, this new lens, this new window into the secondary that we don't normally get to see. You see some of the issues. And like I said, you're facing a lot better quarterbacks coming up here. Blake Bortles obviously really is not one of those guys, but after that, you're playing the Chiefs and Alex Smith the week after. Eventually, you're going to be playing the Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady's, and I'm assuming Marcus Mariota's of the world. Even a guy like Andy Dalton is a fairly accurate quarterback, even if he's not a particularly great one. And these guys are eventually going to make the Steelers secondary pay if these mistakes continue to happen. So hopefully it's stuff that keeps getting cleaned up and worked on. But if you see Jacksonville complete a couple of deep balls, don't be surprised, because there should have been already a bunch completed on Pittsburgh, and they've just frankly gotten a bit of luck so far. And eventually in the NFL, these teams are too good. The luck usually runs out. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to stick with Steelers Depot. Friday morning, we'll have a scouting report on Jacksonville. Myself, Dan Vasco, and Josh Carney will be breaking down the Jags, what to expect from them. If you haven't already listened to Terrible Podcast, went up on Wednesday. Have a Jacksonville beat writer breaking down that team and some really good insight there. We'll have a podcast, obviously, on Friday where Dave and Dave will give their predictions. I don't think I'll have time for another video this week, but for stuff you want to see in the future, let me know in the comments, whether that's on Twitter or Steelers Depot or YouTube. I know people talk about Joe Hayden. I just didn't have enough plays, I think, to really get to him, and I wanted to talk about this concept a lot, but I figured I could talk about the secondary and it would kind of play into some of the Joe Hayden stuff. You got to look at that. But yeah, if you have any other questions, comments, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.